who have asked me, would I live in New York City for a long time? Absolutely not. The down south is calling my name. That is a loaded question. And that is a question that I am willing to answer. Hey guys, it is your girl Rikki Lee here. I'm so excited to be back here on my channel doing a sit down video. Like, I haven't done one of these in forever. But today we are doing a life update and Q&A because I'm getting ready to go out to beautiful faces, New York City, to celebrate with some of my friends. I'm super excited. And if you missed this Q&A, make sure to follow me on Instagram at rikkilee.co so you do not miss out on any other opportunities to get the tea from your girl and learn a little bit more about me. And if you're not already, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever we make a new upload. I've already moisturized and primed my face, so I'm just gonna get straight into it. But the first question that I got was, how is my internship going and how do I like New York City? That was like a repeat question. So, long story short, I love it here. The people, the energy, the vibes, everything is everything. I really enjoy being here in the city. I've visited a few times before. Throughout high school, I came my freshman year. That was my first time coming to New York City, and I came with my then at the time best friend and our moms, and we just kind of toured the city, looked around, kind of like got a feel for what everything was like. And I've always been a Brooklyn girl, like just by chance, because one of my family members stays in Brooklyn. And I got to see a little bit around Brooklyn, and I really loved the energy. I loved the vibes. I loved everything about New York City, and I was like, this is for me. This is where I want to be to go to college. So I applied to NYU. I got waitlisted, and I actually put it on my college like announcement post because I did not know where I was going, and NYU was still kind of an option because I was waitlisted. But then at the end of the waitlisting process, like in June, I was notified that I didn't get in, and so I was just like, you know what, whatever. But I really wanted to go to NYU, and I also really wanted to go to Columbia, but I ended up not applying to Columbia because I had applied to so many other schools. Like the night before the application was due, I was just like, you know what, Rikki, you're doing way too much. Like, let's just not. So I ended up not applying. But I love it here. A little bit of background on my internship is I had to do a 15-minute like presentation. I had to put together a case study because it is a strategy and consulting firm. Work with the best of the best organizations and companies like the WNBA, Spotify, who else? Kate Spade, Diageo brands. Like, they've worked with some of the best, biggest like companies and their respective industries, and so of course they're looking for top-notch interns. And so I had a level of interest, like my cousin forwarded to me that they were hiring, and then I applied, and let me just say, like, I put my all into it. You guys have seen it. If you watched my latest vlog, I have it in that vlog of me like doing the application, and like I put my little case study in there for you guys to see all of the strategy that I put into it. But strategy is like my strong point. That's pretty much what I do on campus for like events and so on and so forth, and I do that with myself, with my brand, and also with my business. So it just really made sense for me to go ahead and pursue a career of that sort rather than like go into a graphic design internship or anything like that. And so it wasn't like tons of rounds of interviews. They emailed me and they were like, we loved your creative ideas, like we really want to interview you. I did the interview and I wowed them then too. I just kind of like talked about everything that I did, and that kind of solidified for them that it was a no-brainer for me to come on and be an intern for the summer. But originally, when I got the internship, they offered $15 an hour in New York City, no housing, and I was sitting there like, what? Excuse me, what? $15 an hour is literally like minimum wage, sweetie, and I am not going to be able to pay for student housing. So I told myself, like, we're gonna figure something out, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you to brush shoulders with so many amazing professionals in this creative field that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. And like, girl, like, come on. So once that happened, I like was going around literally telling everyone my situation, not everyone, but like a few people my situation, people that I thought would be able to help me. And they were like telling me they would be able to help me, but really weren't helping me. And so I really just prayed on it, and I asked God, I'm like, God, like I really, really want to do this, and like I know that I shouldn't have to worry, and I know that I shouldn't be worrying because you're gonna make it happen. So I stopped worrying. I did just what I said. I stopped worrying, and I was like, I'm just gonna have blind, crazy faith and know that God is gonna provide and he's gonna make this happen. So I was just thinking to myself, like my sister told me that my cousin had 2 bedrooms in her apartment. I was like, what? She has 2 bedrooms? Like, I didn't know she had moved, because the last time I came here, my junior year of high school, when I did a job shadow at her advertising agency, she was staying in Brooklyn, but in a different apartment that was like 1 bedroom, and it was not ideal for me to be staying there because I'd be just like staying in her living room. But when I heard that she had a 2 bedroom, I was like, oh my God, like let me use my village, let me rely on my village, and let me see what can happen. If I ask her, she may say no, but closed mouths don't get fed. So I asked her, and she was like, yeah, like that's totally no problem. Just let me know what your expectations are of like what you're looking for once you get here, and then we can figure out something. And that was that. And so once I moved from college back home, and then literally like a couple weeks after that, if that, I think, no, that same week, I moved down to Savannah for a month to do that. And that's a whole nother story time now. We'll do that another day. But that was like crazy. So I was in Savannah for a month doing like this internship program down there with like sales. And then I came back home, celebrated my birthday, and then I moved down here literally 2 days after my birthday, like running off of no sleep, going into my first day of work. So that is like the whole story behind my internship. But to tell you, how do I feel about it? I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm working on great projects with great team members. They give us a lot of autonomy over our work, and unlike other agencies or whatever have you, like where they tell you how to go about solving a creative problem, they give you the creative freedom to kind of figure out your own approach, because everyone's perspectives and everyone's processes are their strong suits, right? Like you want everyone to reside in their zone of genius. And one thing about Sylvain is they really empower their employees. So that's beautiful in and of itself. They continuously do check-ins just to see if I'm like liking everything, if I'm liking my projects. So I just all around really, really enjoy the work that I'm doing, and I feel like I'm actually contributing to the grander scheme of things with the work that I'm doing. So it's really rewarding, and I absolutely love it. It started June 6th and it'll be over August 12th. I am a strategy intern, meaning that I work on different projects, advising, like looking over strategy, looking over brand architecture, innovation architecture, like all of these different really dope things that like make me tick but aren't necessarily available in Ohio. So it's been a great experience so far, and I really, really enjoy it. Take a little sip of this water. Would I stay in New York City? Now, New York City is the city that never sleeps. Now, since COVID, it kind of sleeps a little bit, but I will say that it's very lively, it's very nonstop, and this is a city where you getting around is solely reliant mainly on public transportation, taxis, Ubers, Lyfts, buses, and as well as like the train/subway. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. A lot of people are like, they get here and they're like, oh, it's so dirty, like it's so dirty. I don't really care. I mean, like it's gonna be dirty a lot of different places. Like my space is clean, where I reside is clean. So I really don't care what outside looks like. I mean, that's just my perspective. Personally, I take it for what it is when I'm on the train. If I see something crazy, like you just mind your business and you look back down and you just like, whatever. Like guys, I was on the train on my way to work, and this man's wee-wee came out on the train. He was a homeless man, and his wee-wee came out, and I was sitting there like, and I just minded my business, and I went right back on my phone. And that's welcome to the Big Apple. You know, that's what happens. That's what you see here. So I could live here for maybe about like a few years during the hustle and bustle and grind season of my early 20s, because I'm 20 now, and you know, I'm trying to make a career for myself and really just navigate this creative world and influencing and so on and so forth. And so here is the great place to do that, because so many events that I normally would look at while I'm at home, and I'm like, oh, I would love to go to that, but I would have to fly out. It's literally like, oh, I want to go to that. I can just ride the train there. I can like just catch a lift there. So the access that you have to like these really niche inner circles that can take you to really great places, it's easily accessible here. People are amazing. I'm big on everything is how you make it. Like my life is curated to the T, and it's not anything that's necessarily fake about it. It's real, but it's the life that I've created for myself. And now that I'm 20 and I really can take control over my life, I don't have parents that are like hovering and like telling me everything that I need to do. They've given me the freedom to really like just go about things the way in which I see best fit. And of course they're like my advisors in the background telling me like, Rikki, you shouldn't do that. Rikki, you should probably think about this. But it's like joyous to know that my parents kind of like let go of the reins and let me go here, let me go to Savannah and just experience life, because I'm a girl from Cincinnati, Ohio. Like there's a lot to happen there in Ohio, and me and my friends are making stuff pop off. But at the same time, being able to see the world and see different places and formulate my own opinions rather than just hearing what someone else has to say is so important. And if you get nothing from today's video, like please just know that you have to explore for yourself. You have to experience for yourself. You have to seek counsel and not advice, because there's a lot of things that I heard along the way to getting to this point that possibly could have discouraged me and made me think like, okay, no, let's just stick with the safe route. Let's stick with the route that makes the most sense, or the road that's more traveled. However, when you have faith in God, and God is the leader in your life, He's your PR agent, He's your talent manager, He's your everything. He is your creator. He knows what's best for you. And it's up to you to listen to Him and not stop asking everyone else around you their opinions. And that's something that I learned through this process of like moving here and so on and so forth, that why people do things in silence. Because I share with you guys things, but I've kind of shifted a little bit to like not in the moment, but like a little bit after, because some things I have to just sit with for a little while and like take in for myself before involving the rest of the world and everyone else's opinions on it, because it can get crazy. But like long story short, I could live here for a couple of years, but I love to drive. And so me not being able to have my car up here, my big Lexi, my favorite, my boo-boo, it's been hurting my soul, because everywhere the commute is at least 30 to 35 minutes, and that is insane to me. So I've gotten into like reading a lot on the train, and that passes the time, but like who wants to seriously be in a vehicle, for a public vehicle at that, for 30 plus minutes every single day, like going everywhere that you're going? It's insane. So yeah. Someone else asked me, how is my mental? I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, my mental is at like a solid 8. Now that, like I said, I keep saying now that I'm 20, but guys, like this is serious. Like now that I'm 20, a lot has changed. Because when you have friends and you're like young, of course, it's like most of the things that you do are based on what your inner circle, what your core girls, what your core 4 do. However, I'm in the season of my life where a lot of my friends aren't doing exactly the same thing as me, and I love that. I love that, because I don't seek out friends based on our similarities. I seek out friends based on our differences, because I don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of me's. Like, that's boring. I like spice, I like variety, and I like people who can call out my flaws and call out my shortcomings. And if we're all doing the same thing the same way, then like how do any of us grow, you know? So with this season of my life, I'm naturally a people pleaser. This is like getting deep, but like I'm naturally a people pleaser. And something I'm noticing is that like I'm in control of my career, but am I in control of my life? Am I in control of like the rooms that I'm in, the things that I participate in, the way in which I go about things? Like, because in a way, for so many years, God has sheltered me, and like my view on the world, a lot of people can say that I'm naive, but like my view on the world has been so limited because I've not been exposed to as much. But in a way, I'm like, thank you, Jesus, thank you, God, I haven't had to experience that. But at the same time, now that life is like this big box of chocolates, it's a matter of me like really having to put my faith in practice and like figure out the ways in which I can still present myself as a woman with faith and so on and so forth, because social media and so many other other content creators, when they share their relationship that they have with God, like people hold them, it's like they hold them to the strictest of highest of standards, and it's like if you stray past what I think a woman of God looks like, then you gotta go. And so it's not harming my mental health, it's just something that I'm trying to be conscientious of 24/7. Like, what am I saying that I'm about, and keeping that key. And it's not necessarily about being on brand, because yes, image matters to a certain extent, but I know I was made in his image, and what other people perceive and think of me really does not matter. But I just want to make sure that I am pleasing him, and that what I'm saying I'm about, and you know, keeping that in check, and just not putting in so much pressure on myself to please everyone else, and start pleasing myself and pleasing him in a sense. So that's been a challenge now that I'm like really an adult, because you can't say like, oh, my mom told me I couldn't do this anymore. You can't rely on parents or, you know, schools or your job or anything like that to say that that's the reason why you choose not to engage in certain behaviors or be around certain people or be in certain rooms. It's simply you having autonomy over your life and saying, no, I don't want to subscribe to that. I don't want to do those things. I don't want to be a part of those places, but doing it in such a way that it's tasteful and it doesn't have to, you know, insult anyone else. And that is a true talent and a skill, and I think a woman with grace is able to do that. She can have taste, she can have expectations and, you know, higher values and so on and so forth without putting the people around her down. She can have certain ways that she likes things without being, you know, nose up, you know, and that's something that I'm trying to navigate, because I want to be a light when I walk into a room. I want it to come off genuine, and I don't want it to come off in the wrong way. So yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. Someone asked, what is my major? This is a real simple question. My major is marketing with double minors in professional writing and entrepreneurship and innovation at The Ohio State University. Someone else asked, how do you stay consistent with your business and your TikTok? Look, I am the master of creating and monetizing a platform that is based off of my real life, okay? I looped in my people when I was at the ripe age of 13, and I have kept them looped in because I have allowed them to grow with me. I have shared just enough, not too much, to where if I was to change or so on and so forth, like no one's gonna hold me to like what I said, because I don't really say too much on the internet. And so you guys have been able to grow with me and like see me go from being a middle schooler to a high schooler to then a college student, and me now like being about to like graduate from college and go out into the real world and be working a real job. And so I've kind of looped everyone in, and everything that I do on a regular, consistent basis, I just record it. And that's really how I'm able to be consistent, because I'm consistent with myself. I go to school, I go to class, I do stuff for my business, I go out with my friends. Like, these are things that I consistently do, so it's not hard for me to produce content. You feel me? So, a lot of the girlies want to know. I've been avoiding this question because I'm honestly scared. The number one rule to social media is you never share what you don't want people to have an opinion on. And I have been very intentional since starting YouTube about not sharing anything about my dating life or like who I'm dealing with, just because I don't want anyone to have an opinion on it. So now I was doing this video with this brand. I was working with like this boob tape brand, and I told you guys that I went on a date, and that was real. Welcome to New York City, guys. You're hearing like all kinds of things going down the street. But that was very much so real. We went on a date and I really enjoyed myself. He's super nice. He is about my age and very much so a gentleman, very much so my type. And we went out to brunch. He asked me what did I have a taste for, because he said he had like so many options in his phone of like places that he could take me, and I was just like, I'm a brunch girl, like we can go get some French toast or whatever. So we went to this spot called Peaches in Brooklyn, and it's Black owned, and the French toast was absolutely chef's kiss. And it was great, guys. I got there at 12:30 and I didn't leave until 4 p.m. So that tells you like how much great conversation we were having. It was very natural, easygoing. Like, I was very nervous going to the date because I haven't been on a date since like last semester. I've been on some pretty incredible dates in my life, guys. They pulled out some pretty cool stops for me, but this one was just a little bit different. Like, the conversation was just like super good and easygoing, and I really like the way that he carries himself. I like his appearance. Like, he's very handsome, he's very kind, he's very considerate, and he's very consistent. And these are like qualities that are beyond just the looks of things. Like, he's also a go-getter. He's super ambitious. Like, I really hope he doesn't find this YouTube video and like gets in all over his head, because I don't like somebody until they love me. So don't think too much into it. But he was like super nice. So the date was great, and that's my answer to the question. Oh, it's hot. I turned the AC off so you guys wouldn't have to hear the AC, but I'm like burning up. So someone asked a really great question, and they asked, what are you most proud of this season in your life? And I feel like right now in this season of my life, I'm very proud of the impact that I have. Like, I can go out there and go after my dreams and do what I want and show you guys how unwavering my faith has been, and how I've allowed God to just use me and take me from place to place and take up space and show people. And it's so amazing how he's used me as a vessel, and I'm being received so well. And I think that is something I can honestly say that I am so proud of, because the little 13-year-old me, like, if she knew me right now, she would think I was so cool. She would think I was so cool. And I've changed a lot, guys. I've grown up a lot. I think for a long time, I thought of myself as like a victim of my circumstances, a victim of my life, my upbringing, and so on and so forth. And one day I woke up and I'm just like, my earthly parents, my earthly family, my earthly friends are not the end all and be all, and they are not the ends to my means. God can literally make something out of nothing. And me, from where I come from, I'm not saying that I come from like very humble and crazy beginnings and like I didn't know where my next meal was going to come from, because that would be absolutely disrespectful to my mother. However, there were a lot of different components to my upbringing and components to where I come from that speaks volumes to where I am today. And both me and my sister are very successful young black women. And shout out to my sister, because girl, you killing it. You killing it, and I love you. But I have to pat myself on the back and say, dang, girl. And I hate to say that I'm self-made, and my mom always is like, you're self-made, Rikki. Like, stop trying to be humble. You're self-made. Considering your circumstances and everything else, baby, you self-made. I think it's so amazing that I've been able to reach so many amazing young women and like inspire them to go out there and start doing what they've always wanted to do. And something that Keke Palmer said when I was at her like meet and greet at my college, she said that when you do your thing, you give other women the permission to go ahead and do their thing too. And I think that's absolutely amazing, that me just sitting here, being myself, sharing myself on my campus and doing this and that has inspired enough of you to like get up and start doing your own thing. Yeah, that's something I'm proud of. Someone said, what is your favorite part about New York City? My favorite part about New York City, I would say, is honestly the people, the vibes. But the most amazing thing about being here, I will say, is the amount of young people, like the amount of young successful people who are young and getting it. And like, I haven't gotten a chance to brush shoulders with too many people just because there haven't really been any like networking events, and every stylish girl had an event for influencers and I literally missed it, didn't even get a ticket, didn't even know it was happening. So that's just a testament for me to like, you know, keep my eyes peeled for new events and stuff. But I just love the aspect of like how many black interns are here this summer interning is absolutely insane to me. There are literally so many people down here from all walks of life, all parts of the world. Everyone is themselves. It's like, yes, there's like the New York City uniform and like people are kind of similar and in certain aspects. Everyone is themselves here, and that's so refreshing because individuality is embraced in New York City, and that's something that I'm trying to grow into, is myself. I feel like I am myself in a lot of aspects, and but in a lot of aspects I'm not. And so I really want to get to a place where I'm like so comfortable. I know who I am, and I'm so comfortable in that like I don't care what the hell you think about it. And I'm very confident. Don't confuse confidence with contentness, because I'm confident in who I am, but sometimes in different settings around different people, like it can just be kind of discouraging to be yourself. And so I'm learning that it is not my job to make myself palatable enough or digestible enough for you to like me or want me to be around. And it's sad that it's taken me this long to get to this point, because I'm literally 20 years old, but like, guys, you'd be surprised at the things that I've experienced, the things that I've seen, the things that I've done. And I pretty much figured it out earlier, like in high school, because I say something that's so important to me is like, I don't do convenience ships. I don't do friendships based on the premises of like it just being solely convenient for me. You have to add value, and I have to add value to yours. That's just the way that it goes with me. And so when girls approach me and they're like, oh, you're so pretty, like, let's be friends, like, that kind of creeps me out, because that's just not my gig. It's never been my gig. I'm not into being friends with people solely for what they will make me look like. I think that's how a lot of people run into having very inorganic relationships, is because they're looking for realness through an aesthetic, and that is very false. And I want y'all to wake up, because if you think everybody that looks a certain way is real, you need to wake up and smell the flowers, baby, because that ain't here at work. People who can be your bestest friend can look entirely different from you, and you have to be willing to embrace that and be open to allowing those different types of people into your life. Someone asked, are you going to graduate early? I plan to. There's a couple different determining factors on if I do. One, there's like these 2 accounting classes that I have to take before I start my marketing core, and I need to take those at the community college because they're super hard at Ohio State, and I don't have time for it to be like ruining my GPA. And the professor who teaches it at my school is like known to be a butthole, and I just really don't need that type of stress my senior year. If I can get into those 2 accounting classes this fall, then I will be graduating early. If not, then I'll just be graduating in like the summer or the fall, because I have like 3 more semesters left that my scholarship will pay for. So I can graduate in the spring, or I can graduate in the summer, or I cannot take summer classes and graduate in the fall. So that answers your question, but I am set on track to graduate early. So and I think this other question answered the question already, but someone asked, what is your relationship status? Maybe I am very much so single. And I'm not gonna add the ready to mingle, because I'm not ready to mingle. I'm not. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I'm not ready to mingle. I'm like very protective of my space and my energy at this time of my life. And when you're like serial dating and serial dealing with a whole bunch of people, it just invites in a lot of different like personalities, a lot of difference. And like me, I don't want to be on the phone with you all day, every day. Like, I have stuff to do, unless I like really like you, of course. And one thing about me, my problem is like once I start to like someone and they're like mentally my favorite, I'll still talk to other people, but I just feel like I have to be loyal to a certain extent and like not talk to as many people, and like I can't go on dates with someone else, and like I can't even kiss someone else because I'm talking to you. I start to be unknowingly loyal, and like I'm single, so yeah, I am single, guys. Okay, the girl is single. She ain't dealing with nobody. I went on one date, and now y'all want me to be married. Slow down, honey, slow down. I need to sharpen my lip pencil. But someone asked, are the podcasts back again? They are back again. Well, I did 1 episode. Since I've been in New York City, I don't have my podcast equipment with me, and so it's looking like we'll start season 2 once I get back to campus, and I can record a bunch of episodes once I move into my apartment. The next question is, how do you manage your time? I am an avid Google Calendar user. Like, I literally eat, sleep, and breathe Google Calendar during the school year. Since the summer has started, I haven't been using it as much unless I have like big events that I need to go to, or big like, you know, meetings and stuff that I need to put on my calendar. But during the semester, Google Calendar is my queen. Go back to my video that is titled How I Prepare for a That Girl Semester, and you will find all the details on how I manage my time and my studies and all that good stuff. How do I deal with imposter syndrome? I definitely get it a lot of the time, but I think my faith and my belief in God really helps me, because I know that He wouldn't put me in any circumstance that He doesn't think that I'm ready for. And I think that really just affirms for me that I'm exactly where I need to be. That's like an affirmation that I also like to tell myself, is that I'm exactly where I need to be. I deserve all things that are coming my way, and that I have an abundance of blessings that are on layaway, waiting for me to show up. And so that's what keeps me going to show up, because I know that I have blessings and people that are waiting on the other side of me showing up every single day and doing what I do. And so that keeps me going. And another thing with imposter syndrome is a lot of times a lack of confidence in your ability. Something that can easily firm up your confidence and make you feel like almost arrogant when it comes to your skill set is being good at what you do. Be good at knowing your perspective and knowing your strong suits and knowing your superpowers. And that's something that I've been able to kind of walk into in these past couple of years, is walking into my strengths and walking with a posture of grace and grit. I don't even have to speak for myself, my work does. And that's a point that a lot of us have to get to. And I think that pushes you from a place of imposter syndrome, because you know you were called to be there for a reason, because people have seen what you can do before they even knew you. You know what I'm saying? And so that has really firmed up for me, because I've gotten really good at what I do. It negates the imposter syndrome. But of course, when there's opportunities and things that are presented my way where I've never done anything like that before, I think I lie again on my strengths and not necessarily on my weaknesses, because no one knows how to walk before they crawl. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't hit the ground running and expecting that you're going to know how to do something that people have been doing for decades. You have to kind of sit in the fact that you are new to this, you're an amateur, and it's going to take time, but it speaks volumes when you're willing to hit your head on the wall numerous times in order to be able to get up and stand firm on your own. And I think a lot of businesses, a lot of people, and so on and so forth are very appreciative of individuals, and they want them on their team when they know that they're willing to fail. Simply put, I think employers really love people who are willing to fail trying rather than just sit there and do nothing. Like, I have seen a lot of people who are very capable, but they don't do anything. They don't do anything at all. And it makes them very hard to work with, because you just sit there and you're waiting for me to hold your hand half the time. And it's like, just do something. If you just bring back something for me, then like, we'll get somewhere. So just try. That's all you really can do. Give it your best, and your best, you can be confident in that because you know that you tried. And that negates any imposter syndrome that you will ever have. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know if it wasn't, but that's how my thought process works. Someone else asked, what is my favorite perfume at the moment? My favorite perfume, I would say, is probably Her by Burberry right now. It's just so fresh and like feminine, and right now I'm trying to lean more into my femininity. However, my bread and butter since I was 16, actually like 15 years old, is La Vie Belle by Lancome. It smells like chef kiss, guys. It literally smells so good, and it's like unreal. So that's my all-time favorite, but right now Her by Burberry as well as Flower Bomb have been my all-time favorites for the summer. And someone else asked, when is the masterclass coming? So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you saw me post and talk about how I've gotten to the point that I am now where I'm getting all these brand deals and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I really want to be able to give back and share some of my wisdom so that you guys can go on better about your influencer journey, so you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. And so I really want to host this masterclass, but of course I'm focusing on my internship and I'm also taking summer classes. So in between then, I'm doing this, creating content. So once I have the free time to really sit down and get into the nitty-gritty of the curriculum and figure out like if I want it to be in person, if I want to like do a tour and like do multiple cities and we do actual intimate like in group, you know, type of things, then I will, you know, figure that out. But for now, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's still in the back of my mind and I still really want to do it, but it's just a matter of like having the time to dedicate to making something like that flourish. Someone else asked, did you leave Ohio State? No ma'am. No ma'am. I did not leave Ohio State. I left for the summer to do this internship, but I am returning in the fall. So if any of you are incoming freshmen into Ohio State coming in the fall, make sure to follow the Undergraduate Society of Black Leaders as well as the Black Advertising Strategic Communications Association on our campus, because I am on both e-boards. I'm the president of the Black Advertising and Strategic Communications Association, and I'm the marketing director for USBL. So make sure to follow us. We will have so many great programmings and offerings for students here on campus, especially if you're interested in some of the stuff like me, like professional development, marketing opportunities, job opportunities, internships. Like both of those organizations are the paradigms for those things for Black students. So, and I know a lot of young Black girls follow me, and y'all, you know, want to know what to do when you come on campus. So, you know, you can talk to me. I'm super nice, guys. Like, you see me, say hey. Someone else asked, how do you navigate dating as a Christian young woman? That is a loaded question. And that is a question that I am willing to answer. I think it's so easy for a lot of us to rely on our friends. And we're like the blind leading the blind when it comes to this, because we're all young. All of my friends, my frame of reference is like anywhere between about 19 to about 24, 25, and then my sister's 26. So those are my immediate circle of women that are kind of advising me when it comes to dating. And let me tell you, it is ghetto out here. Okay, it's very much so ghetto, and I want to be scooped up and saved by my husband tomorrow. But I understand and know that there are things that I have to prepare, and there are things that God has to prepare in the meantime within me before I have my husband. Like, there are certain things that I'm just not ready to do yet. Washing somebody's drawers every week, I'm not prepared to do that. But I'm saying that I want a husband, you know what I'm saying? So like, I have to put in the work in healing myself and making sure that I'm ready. And I also have to accomplish a lot of the things that I want to. And I think a lot of people don't understand that there is power in singleness. There is promise in singleness. And there's a lot of time that you have on your hands to explore self and explore your interests and cultivate your tastes and so on and so forth that you would not otherwise be able to if you were in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So your singleness, take advantage of that. You know, get to know people, get to know the things that you like, acquire your tastes and figure out your commonalities and your differences that you have with people. And you shouldn't be necessarily looking for a partner that literally mimics you, because like I said, I don't like people that are like me. I typically don't. I like people that are different from me. And so I'm looking for that, and I'm open to different experiences. I listened to Michael Todd. He told me to throw in my list, and I threw it out. I don't have a list now. I just have certain qualities and things that I know that are representative of a man of God, and I'm not throwing that list away now. Now that list is in my back pocket, it's on my front screen, it's everywhere, and I'm reminded of it, and I ask myself these questions like, girl, is he considerate? Is he patient? Is he kind? Is he loving? Is he charming? Is he quick to anger? Like, asking myself these questions, because if he is, or if he is not, then he's not the one for me. He's not. And I think we have to come to a point where it's okay for us to view each other as brother and sister and like get to know each other and not put so much pressure for things to escalate to another level. And that's what I've been doing. Like, I'm not, every time I go on a date with someone, guys, I'm not sleeping with them. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. You do you, baby. You do you, girl. But me, I like to take things slow. And I like to really get to know a person. And I have a lot of really great male friends. And the way in which they treat me, the way in which they speak about me and deal with me, like, the bar is high, okay? So if you want to be my man, you need to step you need to come a little bit different, because my male friends will be really upset with me if I bring home or bring around some bugaboo who don't even want to open the door for me, or, you know, pick up the bill, or just be a chivalrous man, be a kind and considerate man, because I'm a very kind and considerate woman. And everything that I ask for, everything that I require, I can give, if not more. So it's just not like I'm pulling things out of the sky and saying like, oh, he needs to do this and he needs to do that. No, like, I can do it too. So if you're gonna come into my life, I would like for you to be able to add some value to it. And maybe there are things that I don't even know that I need. But like, when you come into my life, it'll be very apparent. I do know that, because as a Christian woman, I know that God is not a confusing God. He is a God of clarity. And so if something comes to me and it's very confusing and I just don't really know, like, should I pursue it? I don't know. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I just really can't tell. Like, no. And as God's children, we must also know that we are not going to be misleading people. I'm not in the business of misleading anyone. I make my intentions very clear, and sometimes I don't have intentions. I just want to get to know someone. I just want to have fun, go on a couple of dates, and get to know each other. And if you make that known, there are no expectations, and you can just go into it with a fresh mind and really just be able to get to know a person without any of you getting something out of it at the end of the day. Because for a lot of men, they think that we just want to get a free meal out of them, and I'm like, baby, no. I wouldn't have even come. I would have asked you to DoorDash me something if I just wanted a free meal. Like, what are you talking about? So I think that on both ends of the spectrum, there's a lot of entitlement, and so I'm trying to get to a point where I don't come off entitled. I come off very genuine and sweet, and if I am that girl to you, then you will do those things, because it's a moment of flattery. It's a way for you to show interest. And if the way in which you show interest is by doing the bare minimum, then I just don't think you're really interested in me. And find someone else that you can be just as interested in that way, but just not with me. And that's just that on that. This is the last question of today's Catch Up With Me life Q&A and like update. Someone asked me how to budget. And baby, let me just tell you this. Since I've been in New York City, I have not been budgeting, and that's something that I need to do. I've actually been ignoring it. I've been actually quite scared to like itemize and like check off like 20% of my check is gonna go to this and 20%. Because guys, life is just so all over the place. You can be outside for 5 minutes and you've spent $100. Like, it's insane. The cost of living here is absolutely insane. So for those of you who have asked me, would I live in New York City for a long time? Absolutely not. The down south is calling my name, okay? Because I'm tired of going outside spending $200 every day. It's ridiculous. Hey, let me get serious. I will say, budgeting is something that I am not a big doer of. I'm just a big saver. So like, when I would get paid, let's say I would get paid like $600, $685 to be specific. Let's say I got paid that. I would put up $600 and spend the $85. And I also had side hustles, so I had my business. So I would like work, like retail or do like a job. I would live off of that money, and every time I would get like a big high ticket offer client, like let's say they paid $1,400 for a website bill at that time, I would put all that money away. I would just put it in my savings and I wouldn't touch it. So if you can find a side hustle or something that you can do, that you offer a high ticket item, and maybe you just take on one client a month, that's $1,200 that you are literally putting in your savings a month. Like, it's just going in there. And that's why I've been able to do such high ticket purchases, like buying a new car, buying another new car, buying a MacBook, buying cameras, buying this, buying that, because I save aggressively. But I also spend aggressively too. So my whole philosophy is you gotta spend money to make money. You know, that's how the world goes round. So if you wanna be one of the big ballers, you gotta spend like a big baller. Do not take this advice. I am not a financial advisor. I am not any of those things. And yeah, that concludes today's life update and Q&A. I hope you guys really enjoyed this little girly chat with me as I got ready for Beautiful Faces New York City. I love you guys. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at rikkilee.co. And if you're not already, tap into the TikTok, because I give you guys the most content there on a regular, consistent basis through the Diary of That Girl, where I'm showing you guys my life as a strategy intern in New York City. What more can you ask for? I'm giving you guys all the tea. So make sure you follow me on there, because we get really intimate on there. Like, I feel like I tell tell them way more stuff than I tell anyone. Make sure, if you're not already, make sure to follow That Girl Radio on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, because we are having great conversations on there. I feel like season 2 is going to be even greater, even bomber, and it's just going to be great. And if you haven't already, we have 6 episodes out, so you can go ahead and listen to all of those on like how to become that girl, who is that girl, moving with grace and grit, checking yourself. Like, there's so many great topics that we've already discussed on the podcast, and a lot of people are loving it. Go and check it out. I love you guys so much, and I will see you all next time. Bye.